A very, very good evening, and welcome to this exciting series that I have started um, concerning this book. The book I wrote in 2019 when I was in hospital. It's called A Letter to My Son. So it's a letter to my son, 40 plus 1 lessons for life and success. You can get this directly from me or from Amazon on Kindle. All you have to do is type Tendai Garwe and you will get your own copy downloaded right there from Kindle. It's been a minute for me to have come and have this conversation with you. And as you know, tonight I'm having a conversation with Plot Mhako. So basically, the background of this is I wrote this book when I was in hospital. It was a book that happened, although it was a letter I was actually writing to my son about things I should have taught him just in case I had passed away or died in the car accident. This is my third year and I'm recovering very well. So, of the 41 lessons, how we're going to do it is there will be a person that I talk to every day who I see or have realized that they have experienced the lesson that we are talking about. So there'll be different people who are invited, people with different backgrounds from different countries, from different continents. And today, the gentleman I'm waiting for to come live, his name is Plot Mhako. He'll definitely introduce himself. Right now, he's in Germany. So you see, we're going international, no holds barred. So basically, while he comes, I'm going to talk about lesson one. And lesson one is about don't judge a book by its cover. I'll read just a little extract from the book and then have a little conversation and then wait for Plot to then join the conversation. And then we start talking and unpacking. Welcome, Plot. I see he's joined and is already requested. Plot, I'm just reading one extract from the lesson and then we start already. So it says, never judge a book by its cover. Right? Never judge a person by their appearance. Never. Just because a person dresses a certain way, looks a certain way, and is from a certain geographical location that you think is backward is no reason for you to judge their whole being from. It is so annoying to be prejudiced because you are blank and they're all blanket you in a certain way or behavior because of the color of your skin or because of the size of your body. Just because they are pink, brown, or otherwise munhu, and that person should be treated as a human being. So this is what it is about. And the reason I brought about Plot, I know Plot personally, and 5 to 10 years. I don't remember exactly, but I've seen Plot. I know his journey, and there's a day I was laughing with him. Welcome, Plot.
Hey, how
There's
are
a
you? I'm
day.
good. Thanks a lot. Good to see you, so.
Thank you so much for joining me. You would definitely introduce yourself, but I want
Yeah,
people
that's
to
fine.
know something. There's a day you posted your 6 pictures. Were they 6 or 8
Yeah, six
from
pictures.
2000 from 2008?
And 12
Was
from
it
12.
2012?
Yes.
And if anyone were to judge you by those pictures, Plot, would
Yeah.
you be where you are today? That's exactly what we want to talk about. So,
Great.
welcome, Plot. How are
Thank you so much.
you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. How's the family?
Family is good. How is your little man?
Oh, well, trying to stay safe.
Good, good. Your boy is good.
So, please go ahead and introduce yourself, Plot.
Great, great. Wow, thank you so much. So it's such an honor to be here. It's been a long time. And yeah, my name is Plot Marco. At times I struggle to announce myself, like,
Oh,
sort
well,
of
because you always do that for other people.
yes, and also, like when you do so many things, at times you end up losing track of exactly what it is that you do. But um, foremost, I'm a journalist. I'm a trained journalist.
Right.
I'm also a graphic designer,
Hmm.
and I run a creative social enterprise called Jibilika, which promotes
Okay.
different elements of youth culture for
Yeah.
promotion of different issues, engagement of young people, and um, yeah, recently I started an online platform called Earground, which promotes new voices and engages around the creative and cultural industries in Zimbabwe and also extending. I initiated the Zim Dancer Summit, the Zim Hip Hop Summit, and I also co-run Mafue International Festival of Dance, and now I'm part of the Cultural Connections Africa. Yeah, pretty much. I think my life revolves around arts, anything artistic.
And
I just
and
always
you're
find myself there.
absolutely, can you see my face? I'm in awe because I last knew certain things and now there are newer and newer things that you're adding on, and you don't stop. What drives you? What drives you to always come up with something new in the arts and say, I can push this and I can do that? And I know it's your birthday, so of course I'm going to say happy birthday. And you're going to do this, that, and the other. What is it about arts that drives you so much?
I think I'm a bit restless. I'm driven by just the need to know, the need to try out something, the need to
Right.
learn, and also looking at things that I didn't have access to when I was growing up, things that I yearned to actually uh, get myself involved into. So would see TV. There was one TV, like I think in so many neighborhoods, like where line one, there's only one TV set, and you'd sit down and watch TV. And the imagination that I had was to just be in that TV and be able to make things happen. I always wondered who's on radio, where is that voice is coming from. And when I would see my
Right.
dad coming with a newspaper, I would see, oh, okay, there are these stories. And I always wanted to find different stories and to be the one telling the story and also provoke people to think differently. And because I was very quiet, I'm happy I see one of my childhood friends from primary school, Tonde. I was
Oh,
very
nice.
quiet, and a lot of my childhood friends somehow don't know what happened to me because I never used to talk, but then I started talking. Um, so what drives me, I think it's just I want to see a better Zimbabwe. I believe that it's good that I'm here, but I want to be at home. I want to be able to do some of the things that I yearned and dreamt of
Right.
doing and having back at home. And I
Right.
see that potential. There's so much talent, there's so much potential, amazing people. And in the creative sector, there is a lack, but also there are a lot of opportunities and the great, amazing things that are happening. So those are some of the things that drive me to see success stories, to see stories of defiance and people that are living testimonies like Sokostina. You have, for real, I mean, looking at what you have done, what you've built from the civic society to media
Thank
and the way
you.
that you continue to do, but you still remain very humble. So those are some of the stories that drive me to say, oh, look, if I could make it like that and still be myself, then I can actually achieve more. I can thrive more because I can still speak to more people, get more stories, learn more and stuff. Yeah, basically.
Well, Plot, I'm always inspired by you. Know that any opportunity I
Thanks a lot.
have to put you where I am, I will want you there because you're a young man who I have seen has defied all odds as well, and a person who celebrates all, and one person who sees I've made a mistake, I want to make amends, I want to heal this bridge.
Yes.
But Plot, when I wrote a letter to my son, which you do know that it
Yes.
was a possible mistake for me to have a book, but an exciting one. Um,
Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. So, and I know you read Never Judge a Book by Its Cover. Have,
Yes.
in your journey to who you are today, did you experience any of the sort of being judged because of who you are, where you came from, and what people assume you are?
A lot. I think that was my biggest struggle. That's one
Okay.
thing that I fought the hardest, and I still fight that, but not physically, but fighting it through different initiatives and stuff. So, for example,
Yeah.
I could not dance, and I loved to dance. I wanted to be a dancer, and I never got a chance to dance. So, being unable to dance but loving dance made me start a dance initiative. And I was not really eloquent in speaking, so we're coming,
You were not eloquent. You wait.
no, I
You were
struggled. I
not
struggled.
eloquent.
I was never. There's two moments when it kicks in and where I'm like, okay, oh, this is old me coming in. And at times I have to constantly watch people like you so that I get inspired to see how best to present, how best to talk. For real, I could not speak.
Wow.
So not being able to really articulate myself, even if I wanted to say some things. So I'll get at times a bit agitated because I'm not able to say things that I want to say. Made me
Right.
start to write. So I started writing a lot
Uh-huh.
as a way of expression. So then
Uh-huh.
that got me my interest in journalism. And also, I was tiny, I was small, and I'm still a bit smaller, but, I was bullied quite often, in school, primary school and
Really?
secondary school, yes. And I even got into a couple of fights. If you look at my tooth, there's one that looks a bit dark. That's actually from one fight with another boy who was bullying me when I was in Form 2, right? So
Yeah.
there are spaces where I always felt I could not be there because of my background. The
Right.
same applies with, you know, trying to cross from Glenview to get into town and cross the north of Samora was
Of
a
course.
big, big struggle for me because I always felt the kids that were coming from the other side of the town, they had it better. But somehow I think God is a way of creating paths because I remember my first experience with the like arts, like proper was in '99. I worked
Right.
for IFA. So when I worked for IFA, they were looking for volunteers to work at the first IFA. And apparently they went
Mm-hmm.
into all the Group A schools. And they only picked
Right.
one Group B school, which was Glenora to where I was.
Right.
And then by chance, I managed to be part of the team that worked there. And I got blown away looking at the huge creative industry, people that were
Is
sitting
that
with.
where the trigger happened?
This was the biggest trigger. I had
Okay.
interest before, but at Haifa, I saw things that I'd never seen before. You can imagine, I'd never seen Oliver Mtukudzi, the late, and seeing such a
Wow.
legend, seeing Patience Musa. I was telling you a story
Wow.
just, look, I saw you and Mateo with the other artists were
Do you
performing.
do you know I performed at Haifa, 3 Haifas?
Oh, for real? When was that?
Yes, in the celebration choir though, when I used to
Oh,
be in the
wow.
celebration choir. Yeah.
Great,
So
great. So,
yeah, so but
yeah.
plot all that whole journey,
Mhm.
because your journey cannot be told in 30 minutes, which is what I
Yeah,
have.
sure.
But in this whole journey of plot, going to Haifa, beating all odds, and you're saying I was small, I couldn't talk.
Mhm.
There were people who judged you,
A lot.
right? And that's what a lot of young men and women struggle with, being
Mhm.
judged for who you are and where you are, or the color of your skin, or the size. You were judged for being small. It's could judge God for
Mhm.
being big. There's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these dynamics. What is it that then, as a life lesson to success? Because I personally, and I say so, I say you are successful. You
Thank
now
you
have
so
your
much.
own bigger um, arts festival, which is as big as Haifa. So,
Thanks
what
a lot.
is it that you would say? Listen, it doesn't matter why and how people judge you. What is it that you would tell the young people, even the older people, because they still suffer from it? What would you say to them? Because now you crossed Samor, you crossed Zambezi, you crossed, now you're in Germany. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
pay attention in Germany. You speak and they pay attention. So, what is it that life lesson for success that you tell people?
I think the biggest lesson is that we're not defined by how we look. We're not
Yeah.
defined by where we come from.
Mm,
Maybe where we come from is part of our story, it's part of our narrative, but we are not that place. So you might have come from Bari, but if you look at most of the stars that we see in Zimbabwe, a lot of them actually come from, say, high density communities or from rural areas. And I look at
yeah.
success stories. Um, if you look at, for example, Ja Praiser, coming from
Mm-hmm.
Uzumba and to Harare and becoming one of the biggest artists, if not the biggest, one of the biggest in Zim right now. Um,
Absolutely.
Such stories are some of the stories that made me believe that I can actually do it. So for me, what I would say to a young person is that just believe in yourself, but stay humble, stay true. Don't try to fake it. Don't try to fit in. Just be yourself.
Mm,
People appreciate you for you being yourself. I remember I would tell stories Zekumusha, and because every holiday Bazi, Maid you'd close school today, the next day you headed Kumusha. And you'd come back on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're going to school. So the urban life that I experienced then was mainly when I was going to school. The rest of the time to the village. But some of that created so much value in me. I'm able to tell a certain story because I have a broader perspective. I understand the rural life. I understand the urban life. I understand certain things. A lot of the things that were being looked down upon. We were like 9 of us, in a small space, and sharing the bed with like 3 of my brothers and 4 of my brothers. So some of those things, eating in the same plate, they might have been looked down upon at some point, but they created a certain value that gives me a better narrative, a better story. This is the story that
I'm hearing. From what you're saying, I'm hearing that the things that people judged you with are the things that fueled you and to be the person that you are today.
Exactly. And it was not to prove any point. I was just being myself, but ultimately looking at whatever that I thought was a lack, whatever that I thought was an opportunity, and whatever that I'd grasped along the way, and what the community gave me. And I was driven to say, look, I want to occupy this space because I see this as an opportunity. What people thought, where I thought I was not able to really communicate, I challenged myself to say, look, now we're on lockdown. I have to be able to tell the story.
And I love that. I love that you, even in the way I see you accomplished and successful, you have not stopped learning. You are still pushing. You are still making yourself better. And because you're a hero, you're a hero of the young and of, yes, you are. And you should embrace it. You are a hero to the young people and to the people of my generation. And that you keep learning and saying, no matter what people judge me for, that is not what defines me. And I think that's what I caught the most from you. Say you are not defined by that. Because you see, when I was in hospital, I think it's in 2019, is that when Earground was born?
Yes.
That's when Earground was born. And I was like, how the heck? I mean, we've just Jibilikad. We've just done, and I did some of your summits, hip hop summit. Yeah, and people don't even know I'm a hip hop head.
You've been there, I have it all documented. You gave me space on radio. I don't know what you guys were seeing. Whatever that you saw, I think that's what somehow gave me the confidence to go on, because I would listen to the Love Lounge, you and SK, and when you now finally get the platform to be in the same space with such a person, you're like, wow, okay, wow. So they actually see something, and I don't know what it is that you're seeing, but those are some of the things that are fueling me. Just the belief and the faith and something.
I have a gift. I have a gift, and I brag about this gift. I've said, after my accident, I said, there's no more playing, trying to play down for people to fit in. I have a gift to be connected to great people. So it was destined for us to meet, because your greatness was my need to be great was going to draw to yours, so that I be grown from it. And I think also it's important for young people to know, and everybody really, that your network will surpass what people judge you for.
Yeah. True,
like if you know Plot Mhako, it means if I ever have a scandal, guess who I'm gonna call first to say, Plot, give me ear. Put your ear on the ground. I need to make this right. You know what I mean? So tell me about Earground. How do people get onto Earground? Who gets onto Earground? What qualifies you for Plot to say, let me have a conversation with you? And I want for those that are all aspiring and are here and are watching.
Well, I think for Earground is one of the most open platform, because the approach was to say, what is it that is being done by the mainstream media? Where are the opportunities? Right. Where's the lake? How can we fit into that space and be able to create content that people can resonate with? And what are the new voices? Which are these artists that possibly have not been heard before, that would want a platform so that they're able to really develop? And those are the people that Earground is definitely looking forward to. It's established, yes, but we're looking to break new talent. We're looking to celebrate Zimbabwean, unique, creative Zimbabwean stories, people that have inspiring stories, people that have stories that possibly people have not seen, but at some point they'll say, oh, that was Obed Chari, we saw him on Aground. Oh, that was Mambo Duterere, we saw them on Aground. So Aground is pretty much the other side of Jibilika, because with the likes of Jar Praisers at Jibilika before they were known. So that was always the drive to say, look, you know what, I'm going to keep my ear on the ground, looking at some of the amazing talents and be able to uproot it from the ground. The ground is rich with so much talent. And how now that I am now in Germany, do I connect to this talent? You know, so I'm not there physically, but I have to keep my ear on the ground. And
that's where you came from. Keep your ear on the ground.
Yes, keep your
No,
ear
but
on the
you
ground.
see, this is what I'm saying, Plot. And the reason why it was lesson 1 in the book to say don't judge a book by its cover is if someone were to bump into you on the street, they might look you up and down and say, hey, what could this guy do for me?
Yes.
Not knowing what woman and mbinga. Mbinga yema say. You know what I mean? And a lot of people do that. They see someone and then they put them in a box because of how they are dressed or because of how their English pronunciates, when they don't know that could be their breakthrough. That could be the person who opens the door to their next success. And I want people to learn that from you, because I have seen you over and over again on platforms. I'm like, one day I'm gonna sit where Plot is seated. And it's got nothing to do with how well spoken, doesn't have anything to do with where you went to school. It's about your mind and how you conceived it. Now, that's one of the things I want you to help people say, how do I nurture an idea? How do you nurture an idea when you have it for you to then end up with all these different ventures? How do you nurture it?
I think to nurture an idea, paint it, write it down, get it out there, project it. So what I do normally is, whenever I think of an idea, it takes a lot of time when I'm conceiving that idea, when I'm thinking of it, and I have to really get so much conviction. If I'm convinced about an idea, I go for it. And I always look at an idea from the end result to say, look, what exactly do I want to project, and how will people see this thing? What sort of impact does it make? And how do I sustain such an idea, right? So whenever I'm convinced by that, I then start to design. I start to write it down. I start to sort of create an imprint of ultimately what I want to see. So in the back of my head, I'm convinced about where I'm going even before I start. So it's like starting a journey, going to Mtare and saying, look, I'm going to Mtare today. But before you even get to Mtare, in your head, you already see your destination. You already see where you're going. But then at times when you get to Mtare, you say, oh, there's actually Vumba. You get to Vumba, you're like, oh, okay, I can actually go to Nyanga, I can go to this place. So that was ear ground. So the first idea was like, look, at times I'm a bit of like a protest, blogger or something like, and
I know.
so at some point I was like, look, radio is not being fair. It's not really playing.
I remember you said it,
And then you step on so many toes because some of your comrades are there, and then I was like, okay, but instead of just complaining, why not create an alternative radio, online radio? Then I realized after creating one for 3 months, there were like 10, 15 listeners. I was like, oh, but why? Oh, radio can actually be digital. It can be visual. People need to see now, right? And then I started doing this on. And then there were challenges again, copyright issues and stuff. Are you playing music? There's copyrights and stuff. Are you paying these artists? And then I was like, okay, why not, bring some of these artists as guests and speak to them and allow them to express themselves and tell their story in 30 minutes, in an hour, and so forth. So for anybody who's thinking of an idea, I think the best thing is to go for it and do it. And don't be told by anybody that you can't do it, because there will always be a reason for you not to do something. There are so many reasons. Oh, you don't have power, you don't have this and that. Because ear ground, what we're using right now I have a lot of equipment and stuff. Ear ground.
I remember, tell them what you started with.
I just started off with the phone, and pretty much 90% of the content filming it, editing it, streaming it. It's like using a phone, your mobile device.
Yeah.
So the same device that you're using to troll people, that you're using to send other jokes and
To
doing other
troll
things,
people.
it's the same device that we're using. So it's a matter of just flipping your energy and saying, okay, look, where do I put my energy? What is it? Because everybody's got an amazing story that has not been heard. But how do you then get the world
Absolutely.
to pay attention? Like you did now with the book. This is an amazing book. And, you know, you could have let that story pass. You know, you could have ignored and say, okay, but you decided to put that story in a book. The next thing, somebody is going to read that book. You're going to do another book, the next book, the next book, the next book. And look, even the likes of Oprah, they're reading books, they're writing books. So
Absolutely.
it's a matter of just having that faith and believing that you still have something to learn from somebody and never being too arrogant to learn.
But thank you. That's it. Too arrogant to learn from anyone. And, you know, I can't help but notice the color things on the back. Looks like a vine behind you. That.
Which one? Oh, this one.
Yes, it's beautiful, by the way. And when you were saying that, it was showing the story of if you're going to Mutare, if you're going to a destination, do not then say, this is the end of my destination. Say, what else in this destination can I find to make my situation more fun, more profitable, and definitely, you know, bring a variety of things that you can do. Now, Plot, how do you make money from online? Because in as much as everybody is saying what is Eargrant actually making money, or you're just doing this for community purposes?
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for asking that. I think this is one of the most exciting things. That's our focus and our sort of our driving force like this year. But I'll tell you on record that Eargrant managed to jump from 3,000 followers as of March last year to 30,000 by now.
Wow.
Right? And we started off without even having an idea of where exactly is the money, because our drive was to look at artists that don't have money to pay. But I can safely say that now Eargrant sustains Jibilika. It is the institution that pays rent for Jibilika. We're making not so much, but we're making good money to have a team in Zim, and me also being able to work on it like almost like my 9 to 5. Not really 9 to 5, but I have other things. But Eargrant has become sort of that institution that a lot of creative and institutions in the creative scene are going to. So even if you see some of the engagement, the dialogue that I create on Facebook, some of it is part of that, you know. And recently we did the Winky D and the Jabraiser concert with the contract.
That was Eargrant?
That was Eargrant. The event was
I know the guy who runs Eargrant personally.
Casey did the event and the Gateway.
I know the guy who runs Eargrant.
Yes.
Wow.
So Eargrant did the social media for it. So we've done so many projects. We've launched so many albums. We've launched so many projects, some incognito. So this is now where Eargrant is monetizing, because people are always consuming creative content. There are always artists wanting to reach out to an audience. We've created a segment. I have the attention of Soko, which some new artists possibly do not have. I have the attention of So Profound, which some artists do not have. You know, so when you now have that as your social capital, it's if I want to connect to ZT and I have Soko, I have Robert, so. You are
speaking my cracker lacking language, because that's exactly what I say in the book, Plot, that social capital, you miss it out because you judge a book by its cover.
True.
And I am in awe. And like, you know, every time I talk to you, I'm like, what happens to Plot's mind? I mean, you're being a dad, a husband, a brother, a mentor, and all that. I mean, you've got all the excuses in the world to not do anything. But every time, and I think it's time people normalized saying, hi, Plot, teach me how to do the things. Teach me how to make the money, because it's important to have multiple streams of income. That are feeding into, and I'm in awe. So what are we expecting this year? Tell me, I'm running out of time. What are we expecting from you this year?
Thanks a lot. So this year I've got, I'm calling it like shifting lanes. So Earground will grow into sort of a new direction because much of the content was coming from here. Now we're set up in Zim. We've renovated part of our space at Jibilika to accommodate Earground. I have a team there that I've been training for some time. So you see more new content from Earground, not just interviews, but we actually have been creating new content, some documentaries. There's a lot of stories about music, about arts, about the creative industry that have not been told. So this is what we're creating. But also I have a couple of new initiatives that are coming through, some that you start experiencing in the next few months, where I'm part of, because I'm looking at the digital revolution. Where we are now, we're not going back. Everything's going digital. And
right, listen, I'm going to ask for right of first mover advantage. On your birthday, you have to let me know one thing that they heard it first on Sokostina's platform that you are bringing this year. That's what I want. Which is just what, look out for. They should look out for, and they should actually look out for it.
Okay, cool. So well, I think one of the new things that people should look out for that we hear for the first time here on Sokostina's show is I'm creating the first creative hub in the village. So Kumushakwe Mandarin, right? My dad did this shop that we used to run there, and this it's not really being used that much. So I'm transforming that into a creative and cultural hub because I believe that these are the roots where the stories, the narratives that have not been heard. This is where the talent, the potential is. And I come from a place where Madam Boswe comes from, where Freeman comes from, where like Bastard TV comes from, where Tulu comes from. We come all
You're using your social capital. You are harvesting all these brilliant people.
So I'm like, if we have those stars coming from that area, what is it that we can actually do? Everybody that has made it from one place, they want to leave. Why? If I've made it from Glenview, why do I leave Glenview? If I've made it from Abuko, from Budiriro, from Shamva, why do I leave that place? If I leave that place, what is it that I can actually do to plow back and create something for the community? Because where I am right now, if I walk on the streets, nobody recognizes my story unless I start.
We should refuse that whole a prophet is not celebrated in their own town. You should be celebrated back Kumusha. I am so I'm blown away. I'm so blown away by you. And I'm gobsmacked because I never thought of going, although I didn't grow up in Wedza, I actually grew up in Nyanga. So I'm thinking, Nyanga, guys, like honestly.
Do something I'm inspired. Happy to see Ravens. I'm inspired by such young people like Ravens. These are people that keep me like on my toes because I look at what it is that they're doing in the creative space. Using the small, they're not complaining, they're not doing drugs, they're just creating stuff, creating content.
No, Ray is another one, and he actually is lined up. Let me see. What lesson is he? He's on pick your friends wisely because he's young, he's turning 21. But I realized that the company he keeps also determines the man you're going to become. So he is actually part of the conversations of people who I've noticed. Yes, and I'm also very
thinking at his level. I was never imagining what is.
Imagine that. Yeah. Imagine that. I mean, at 21, I was busy being a mom. I was being pregnant. I mean, honestly. But Ray has gone far and beyond. Of course, now we know Lucy and that whole story that happened. But I want to applaud you.
You know, people have to get accustomed.
I know.
To this. It's showbiz.
I know. It's showbiz. And I love showbiz. And like I said, so you also hear it first. And because you're my friend, I'm claiming my social capital back. I believe friends like you can trust me with what they're bringing out.
Definitely.
And I'm so excited for you. And we're definitely going to follow up in the second half of the year. We'll find out where the hub is, what the hub is called, how we can also, even though ative ku Darwin. Do you know, actually, my grandmother, vanga vane mastoro pa Darwin, vanga vane mabucha. Yes, Mbuya Gambanga. We used to go
Oh,
there.
you related to the Gambangas.
Yes, can't you see the journalist side of me comes
You know
from my
Precious
mother?
Gambanga?
Yes, Precious, John Gambanga,
Patience.
Nigel, you know, the
John,
one who
wow.
did Take Zim. Yes,
Oh, I didn't
Take
know.
Zim.
Now it makes a lot of, and then I look at, oh wow, this is
My
interesting.
mom. That's my mom.
Wow.
My mom is
So
a
it all came
Gambanga,
from
and
there. Great.
yeah, so I would love to also give some to Darwin, and I haven't been there since Kudara. But Plot, I am in awe, and I salute you. You inspire me, you encourage me.
Means a lot.
I totally love you, your wife, and my nephews and nieces, and I don't know what to do with you. I want to put you in a bag and say he's my brother. You know what I mean? So
Thanks a
thank you
lot.
so much, and so that I can sell while all your people are here. This is the book. You find it on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Okay, cool.
Yes,
So
it's on Amazon.
you've got a hype, and I would also want to have on ear ground to talk about your book. We've done quite a
Absolutely.
number of books. And,
I owe you an interview because you tried to get me on air ground and I was still so broken. And I'm not shy to talk about my journey, why I was broken. You know that how I went through depression, how I got over it and all that. But thank you so much. And I hope people learn from you, Plot. Don't judge a book by its cover. Although this cover is absolutely gorgeous.
Well done. Well done. And I like that it's like in a letter form. You know how much we miss reading letters.
And you know, normalize buying kids books instead of toys for birthday.
Do you know,
thank you.
I'm an avid reader. I've been buying books, like so many, especially Zimbabwean books. I try to buy Zimbabwean because I feel, look, we used to have such a beautiful reading culture, and it's not gone. We can actually start reading. We're reading WhatsApp. We can even start reading books, online books and stuff. Yeah.
So what are your handles? Where else do we find you? What are Earground's handles so that we are always in touch and up to date with what you're doing?
Great. So my handles are Plot Mhako, everywhere. My email is plotmhako@gmail.com. Plot Mhako on Twitter, Plot Mhako on Facebook, Plot Mhako on Instagram, and then Earground, earground.com. That's our website, or Earground ZW on Twitter, Earground on Facebook Instagram, as well as Instagram. Yeah, but I'm quite accessible. People should get in touch. I would definitely love to connect, because I feel by connecting, this is something interesting. You know, I'll tell you this. Most people don't really know, but from every conversation that I get, I learn something. I get an idea. I get a thought. So from just talking to you now, I already have ideas. So thank you.
I am so humbled, and I love you to bits. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. How old are we now?
No, it's actually in May. I don't know when.
Yes, but how old are we this year? We are all changing this year. How old are we changing?
I'm turning 39 this year.
Oh, we're actually the same year. So you're slightly older than me by months. But, you know, 39 never looked this good, though. Thank you. Have a good evening. And I'm definitely going to save this for those that want to. If you've missed this, it will be on my YouTube channel, Sokostina, or right here. And please follow. Please be inspired. And yes, you will have more people. Next week, actually, I have a young Zimbabwean in South Africa. Her name is Vanessa. Vanessa is one of Instagram's most paid influencers. You want her on Earground. You definitely would want her on Earground. She's changed the game in terms of influencers on social media. And we are talking, and lesson 2, you know, I sometimes forget my own lessons. Lesson 2 is never assume. Never, ever, ever assume anything. And then I'm going to skip lesson 12 to bring the vision board. And it's being done by a young lady, Tafaza, who's in Botswana. I'm looking for everyone who's outside, who are also like
You should
you.
look
I'm
out for
looking
an
for people who are less
amazing.
celebrated
Great.
and people who are doing the most outside the country. And of course, I'm going to bring home Anna Ray Vines, and you know, and people like Kevin who are doing absolutely amazing things.
Right. You should
So
look up
please,
a lady. She's watching. I don't know if you're in touch already. Her name is Magdalene. She's in
oh,
Canada. She's amazing. She runs her own cosmetology. What do you call it? She's got a product line of like cosmetics called Makai. She's super, super amazing. I
really?
wanted if I saw her here. Yeah.
Actually, you know, I'm not wearing anything, so maybe she should actually, you know, I
Yeah.
should,
And she's an avid
yeah,
reader because I connected with
please.
her through one book that we're reading on Year Ground. So she's,
What,
she's
Earground has a book club.
Yeah, we did one by Ignatius Mabasa. We did one by Miriam Kwenda. We did a couple of
Wow.
books. Yeah,
Oh,
and
please,
we've
I
done so
also
many book
want.
reviews.
I also want.
Let's do. Thanks a lot, Soko. But
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. I really appreciate. I'm more grateful for this platform. I'll connect you with Magda.
Oh, thank you so much, Plot. I am
You're
so
welcome.
grateful. So until next Wednesday, and I don't promise it's 30 minutes, it can be 45 like we did today, it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
matter. But
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to growing with this platform. And for the next 42 weeks, we'll be conversing about this and the lessons I taught my son. Thank you.
Right.
Good night.
Thanks a lot. Good night.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me, and do follow me, and please connect with me as well. Just drop in my inbox a message and we could actually have a conversation and see how best we can make this work. Thank you so much. My name is Sokostina or Tendai Garwe, and I look forward to having more conversations with you, inspiring you. It is a season where everybody is gloom and people are dying. But remember to mask up, to sanitize, wash your hands as frequently as you can, social distance, and drink as much concoctions as you can. So have a good evening.